Time has gone by, and God knows I've tried. Still, I'm here trying to work out the best way to survive. I held on to hope. I put on a show.
Welcome back to season 3 of Getting on My Nerves. I have my beautiful co-host Sophie Ward with me today,
Hi, everybody.
and we have our beautiful guest, Sasha Twinham. She is known as the Potsy Panda on Instagram. She has chronic illnesses that we're going to talk about today. She has some promotional things she's going to talk about that are available in the UK to our UK friends. We're going to learn about the upcoming holidays, what that does for her. We're going to talk about flares. We're going to talk about grief. We're going to have words of encouragement. And we're also going to find out where the name the Potsy Panda came from. Welcome, Sasha.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We're so honored. We're so honored to have you.
Yeah.
I feel honoured. I feel really honoured to be put on here, and I'm very excited. It's my first podcast.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. She's
So
No, we
sharing on here.
love your content, so we
thank
just
you. No,
I
I
gotta
appreciate
tell you,
we relate to it so deeply, though. Every single post that you put
Yes.
out there, we're like, yes, she's nailed it.
yes, every
Yeah,
time.
I always worry.
You know, my
about the past.
favorite was when you posted Cinderella flipping the bird in the carriage. And I was like, this girl gets it. This girl gets it. And I told Sophie, I'm like, we have to have her on the podcast and then I started looking at all your content because that's literally when I found you through Sophie. And when I started
Yeah.
looking and I reposted that Cinderella because I'm like, this is me. This is me.
My makeup one, it was like, oh yeah, you must be feeling better because you got makeup on. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is perfect because that's what we all go through with chronic
that's
illness.
what
It doesn't
people
matter.
do. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the assumption that, oh yeah, well she's got makeup on today, so she must be absolutely fine and miraculously healed.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you look like you've been run over by a truck,
Yeah.
what's wrong? What's going on?
Yeah.
Even now,
Same thing that goes on every day. I just don't let you see this.
I just got makeup on the other days.
So, Sasha, why don't you tell us where the Potsy Panda came from and how you came up with the name and all the cool stuff going on with that?
So I originally made my account because I was feeling really lonely and just really sad and like isolated from the world because like I just had nobody to talk to. And I kept asking like my doctors for support groups and things, and everyone I went to was always on like the older side. So it was always like I never felt like I fit in or I could really relate to people. So I thought, well, how about just make my own page and maybe if that helps one person, that'll help me because then I'll feel less alone and then they'll feel less alone. So that's where it came from. And the name, the Poxy Panda, is actually my husband's idea because he was like, you love pandas. It's my favourite animal ever, are pandas. And he's like, you've got pots. You're always potsy. So why not the panda?
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
so
it.
he's the one to thank for the name, actually. He's the one that came up with it, was the Potsy Panda.
That is so
Yeah.
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is what for people that are watching and they don't know what POTS is POTS the only thing that you have? And tell us a little
No,
bit.
I have a long list of
The
a long
shopping list comes out.
Yeah, right.
if you'll probably understand where I'm coming from, you may not even remember everything that's on that shopping list of things.
Yeah.
I've got POTS, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I think I said that right that time. I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I've got gastroparesis. I have endometriosis, chronic fatigue syndrome and ME, Raynaud's, fibromyalgia, panic disorder, the anxiety and depression that comes with all that, hypermobility. I'm trying to think if I left anything out. And a blood disorder.
Oh,
Okay.
bless you.
Well,
Bless
that's what I can remember so far, but I'm pretty sure I've left some of them out, but they're the main ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
There's
that's
a
quite
lot.
a list. That's quite
Yeah.
a list. Now I had for a while, I had POTS when I finally found out I had Lyme, and I could have had it before, not known,
Yeah.
but it really came out when I was on treatment with my PIC line back in like 2015, 2014,
Yeah.
15, because I walked like I was drunk. And it's still
Mm.
some days if I'm tired or whatever, I may sway a little, but my dad used to ask me, "What are you drinking today?" Because I would be to, make jokes. But I also would just pass out without warning. I fell
Yeah.
out of the shower doing that, and I had to quit taking showers. I had to take baths, and and even those were limited, which we're going to talk about that here
Yeah.
shortly about being bedridden. Um, but the POTS, like, is that your worst? Would you say that's your worst beast, or is there one that is worse?
Um, it's normally the worst one, but it comes out more in the summertime now. So like in the summer, it's really bad. So like I
Yeah.
can't manage it. I faint more in the summer. Nothing I really do seems to manage the symptoms. Whereas in the cooler weather, it's there, but it's not as you're gonna
Yeah.
faint or feel like your blood pressure's dropped so low and your heart rate skyrocketed.
Right.
But at the moment, I'd say that my endometriosis is probably the one that's causing the
Yeah.
most pain and the most daily life limiting, I guess. So, like, it's limiting things that I do just because it just
Yeah.
comes out of nowhere and the pain is just horrific.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah.
And how do you cope with the gastro paralysis? Because like I struggle with my gut majorly, and they told me last year that it's not functioning properly. So I know like it's gonna get to that stage. So it'd be really, really great to like hear how you deal with and cope with
Did you
that
get
time.
an endoscopy or anything to get it checked?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what they said with me is basically eat little and often. So like
Right.
tiny,
Okay.
tiny things. So
Yeah.
if I eat a full meal, I won't be able to finish it. I have to eat small portions because
Okay.
what gastroparesis is essentially like like half your stomach's paralyzed. So like
Yeah.
okay.
you feel really, really full, really sick, as
Yeah.
you know.
Sick all
Um,
the time. Yeah.
vomiting, you can get loads of things with it. But the
Yeah.
main thing that helps me is probably eating small and little and often, drinking lots of water, keeping up with your
Yeah.
fluids. And also, if you're struggling to eat, go to the doctor and ask for some like Ensure Plus drinks. They're like a
Yeah.
calorie drink that you can get prescribed to you. So if you're not getting the nutrition in your body that you need from
Yeah.
food, you can
Yeah.
ask your doctor for some supplements and that'll help you so you won't be losing so much weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing as well. Like, well, both myself and Angie, when we first got diagnosed with Lyme, like we lost weight rapidly,
Yeah.
and it was scary, wasn't it? Like you were on
Right.
your deathbed. I got told that I was basically anorexic, but obviously I looked like I was,
Yeah.
but it wasn't that. It was just because I couldn't tolerate any food. So
You
it's
just couldn't
it's
handle
just
it.
No, I was so sick from treatment, and it seemed like as soon as I started treatment, like I remember my one doctor getting really scared because I dropped 10 pounds in a week, and he was like, "Whoa." And I'm
Yeah.
like, and he wanted me to go natural at that time. And I'm like, but you said natural wouldn't work. Well, I later found out I should have started with natural to begin with. Maybe I would have alleviated all the stuff I went through. But I got down to 99 pounds and I'm 5'7". I mean,
Yeah.
I looked, and the thing is you don't know you look like that when you're going
No,
through
you
it.
don't see it. It's everybody else that sees it, not you, because you're so used to seeing yourself every day that you just
Yes.
don't see the
yeah,
changes.
Because there's been times where I've looked at pictures and I've asked my mom, I'm like, who is that? She's
Yeah.
like, "That's you." Because 'Cause it'll be from, like, the side or something, and this person has arms this big, and, like, it looks like my skin's pulled on my face, like, it's just you can see, and I look back now and I'm like, "No wonder my children were so scared." Here
yeah,
I am acting
yeah,
like everything's fine, and I think I look the same, but when I look at those pictures, I'm like, "No wonder they were
They're
scared, they
seeing
were
that and
terrified."
you're not. Yeah,
Yes.
you're not seeing that.
No. You have
Yeah.
children too, right?
No,
No, you don't? Okay.
no. My endo took that away from me.
Aw, I'm sorry.
Died of endometriosis.
do
But
you want to have children like through
yeah,
surrogacy or adoption? Yeah.
yeah, I've always wanted to have kids. It's the only
Yeah.
thing I've really wanted to be in
Yeah.
life as a mum. And when that got
Yeah.
taken away from me, I struggled a lot with that. That was a whole
Yeah.
grief process in itself was that. But right now
Yeah.
I'm content with my little cat and my husband, and we'll just
Yeah.
see how things go. But
Yeah.
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 I will tell you, I struggled they told me they didn't know if I would be able to have children. And then when I
Oh,
when I was married, we tried for 3.5 years for my son. And finally we got him, and then I didn't know if we'd have any more. My daughter, she was a surprise. So
oh,
it
oh,
was
that's
blessed.
nice.
But now, here's my thing. Now, knowing what I know with my health and stuff, back then we didn't know what was wrong with me. They suspected lupus, they suspected fibromyalgia. It was like all these different things that it could be. And I remember asking them, can I pass what I have on to my children? And
That's
oh
a
no,
worry.
no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now that I have the Lyme, I've had Lyme diagnosis for 10 years, it's like I worry. I'm like, do they have it?
Yeah.
Have it? It's so frustrating and
Is
scary.
there a test they can do, like a genetic test to see?
Um, if the way Lyme works, if it's asleep in their body, and it could be they could have it and it may never wake up. But if
Yeah,
they go through some kind of traumatic event or illness, it would wake it up.
trigger it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because I remember talking to my first Lyme literate doctor about it, and she was like, I can throw a bunch of antibiotics at them and we see what happens. If they have all these symptoms, if it wakes it up and it's angry, then it's going to appear on a positive on a test. She goes, if they don't react, they don't have it. I mean, so I kind of just, it was like, it's like playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, you don't really know what to do for the
Yeah.
best, do
You know,
you?
so
Well, I always said to James, like, I want children, but I'm not risking it. Like, it's not fair. It's not fair on us to find the money for like the medical bills, but also like on the child. Like,
And it
I
off
would,
free.
yeah, I'd guilt trip myself for ages. Like, obviously, Angie would be the same if Sydney or Sam started with Lyme symptoms. Like, the shame and the guilt that you go
Yeah.
through would just be so overwhelming that I just couldn't live with it. Like, I feel like I was a
You feel like an
bad
awful
mom.
person, wouldn't you? You see, I get like
Yeah,
that with the EDS because that's genetics. I got that from my
yeah,
grandmother, and
right, okay,
my cousin has it. So I'm like, well, there's always that risk that if I did have my own children,
yeah,
I could pass that on, or it could skip them completely, and then they'd pass it on to their kids. So it's
oh
like,
God, that's scary as
yeah,
well.
so it's a
yeah,
bit like it's really selfish of me to want children, but also I need to
Yeah,
be the reason why I need to say no right now is because not only my health, but
yeah,
is it really fair putting a child through something that, I don't
yeah,
know if I'm going to pass something on to them or not?
yeah, of
And
course.
I
I'm
don't
on
know.
the same wavelength. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And it is hard because, if you do want kids, it is really
Yeah,
difficult to make that decision.
yeah, exactly.
But I suppose they're non-existent at the moment, but you have to put their needs above your own, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
And that's
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I will
it's
tell you
hard.
girls, like, because I knew I had something, but I didn't know what I had
Yeah.
concrete. And when, like, for 16 years, like, I pushed my body to the max. Like, I did everything. Like with the kids, like, it's your kids come first.
Yeah.
So as a stay-at-home wife and mom, so I took care of all of that in the home, all of their activities, volunteering at the school, doing all that stuff, and you just keep going, 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 going. And there'd be
Yeah,
times now when I look back and I'm like, I was flaring then and I didn't know it. Like, I'd be pulling all
Yeah, probably
nighters.
do.
If I pulled all nighters, I'd stay up doing laundry. Like, I just do whatever. So now looking back and knowing that, like, after because I had to come down to my mom and dad's when I was diagnosed, like about 10 months, because they told me to come down. And I was still trying to work, but I went to work and I came home from work and I was so beyond exhausted. Like, I can't even, there's no words to describe how I was feeling. I literally laid in the bed and I didn't get back up. I was done.
Okay.
My body was like, I'm done.
That's
So,
it.
like,
Yeah.
I try to get that across to people, and you really can't because they have to go through it.
Mhm.
But you try to say, pace yourself, like,
Mhm.
don't push your body to the max because at some point your body's going to give out.
Oh,
It's
yeah, your body will say
yeah,
no more.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you have to live with those limitations instead of trying to live with the ones that were more reasonable before. Now you have more
Yeah.
strict ones,
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing that people don't get. If you push your body too far, sometimes there is no coming back from that as well.
right?
So
Yeah.
it's like you have to be so careful because like you're already sick as it is. You really don't want to make that any worse. But they just see it as maybe you're being a bit lazy because you're taking time off even though you're always taking time off. But
Right.
they don't see it how it is to live through our
Yeah.
eyes. It's really difficult to explain that to people.
Well, and how we feel when we
Yeah.
have to rest, we have no choice but to rest. Like a lot of times, overstimulation happens with me and
Yeah.
Sophie. I have to be in my room, no sound, no light, and it may be for days. Sometimes it may
Yeah.
be just be for 30 minutes, but it could be for days. And like my mom gets it, but other people they don't. And I know people that go through this with the overstimulation and their partner or their family, they don't understand. Well, you rested all day. Why do you still have to rest?
Yeah.
Oh, you slept well last night. Why are you so tired?
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
so you can,
our symptoms can change from
yeah,
hour to hour, day to day.
from
You could
minute to
wake up
minute.
and be fine, and then by the afternoon you're crashing because maybe you did too
Yeah.
much earlier in the week, or maybe you did too much that day and your body's starting to say, "Whoa." You
Yeah,
know,
slow down.
it's just as frustrating for us as it is for the people around us.
Yeah. Definitely.
There's that
And,
that
and
quote,
how?
isn't it?
Oh,
It's
sorry, Sean.
I
Cut
don't
you
know
off there.
that quote. It's like if you're frustrated with my chronic illness, imagine how it is
Yeah, exactly.
living it.
Because how long have you been struggling with your chronic illnesses? Like ever since you were born, or was it sort of
Uh,
slow progression of like getting diagnosed and like going through different
it was
doctors to fight
hard.
basically for your health?
It was all, like I was sick when I was a kid, but I didn't really know that I was sick as a kid.
Okay.
They just put it down to it's growing pains, the god old classic. It's growing
Yeah.
pains, you'll grow out of it, and then when you get to a teenager, you're a hormonal female,
Drama queen. Yeah.
yeah, it's your period, so it's
Yeah.
anxiety or whatnot. And it wasn't until I saw, I think, a POTS specialist in
All right.
2015 that he put everything together. So he literally connected
Right.
everything, and it was like you had POTS because of your EDS. So you've always had
Mhm.
EDS from your grandmother, and it just wasn't picked up because back then it wasn't well known. Well, to be fair, it still isn't that well known, but
Right.
it's more well known than it was back then.
Yeah.
So I've always really been sick, but not really known that I was sick. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Definitely. And those years of not knowing what's going on with your body are the scariest. Like
Yeah.
no one can explain how scary they are because you're going to all these doctors and they're like, well, your bloods are fine,
Yeah.
your scans are fine. And you're like, well, I don't feel fine. But
But
then
yeah.
when you're a young girl as well, like you said before, they just think you want attention and you're being a
Mhm.
drama queen and your hormones are everywhere and you just want like,
But you
to
don't want to
go in
work.
and
You just
moan. Yeah.
yeah. And
It
it's just not
frustrates me.
it really does. I think I'd like to say it's getting better, but it just seems to be getting worse.
I
It's that
know.
it's just dismissive all the time. Any chronic illness, actually,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, especially if you're a female, unfortunately, it's just one of them things. It's
Yeah.
anxiety or hormones.
True. When you're younger. And then there's like, with guys, what I've found out a lot of times with guys, they're pushed off too because
Yeah.
they don't want to come forward. That's a sign of weakness. So they don't want to come forward and
They
say
don't
there's
talk
something wrong.
about their
It's
open up.
hard for men. It really is because there's such a stigma, I think, with men not going to the doctors or they've got a man up and all that when it's like it shouldn't be like that, especially not this day and
Yeah.
age. They
Right.
should be able to feel that they can go see a doctor or open up about their mental health like anybody
Yeah.
is. And
Yes.
it's still so hugely stigmatized. And I don't like that because my husband suffered with mental health problems and it took him so
Bless
long
him.
to admit that he needed help because of the
Yeah.
stigma attached
Yes.
to male mental health. So yeah, I think there's a lot of changes needed in a lot of things,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just think that's awful that society puts all of these labels and
Yeah.
People in a
stereotypes.
box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Bad. And
It's-
especially like with the NHS, and I know the CDC are a bit similar. If they think it's too complex, or you can't fix it with a pill, or it's not shown up on a scan or come up in your bloods, they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. They'll just send you away. Come back in
Yeah.
6 months and it's still there.
Yeah. And it's literally until it's severe and you're literally like on the floor and can't move, that's when they'll decide to do something. But by that point, it's probably too late
Yeah.
for many people.
And that's what people
or they
don't get. I
about kill
think
you with
there's a
it.
lot of maybe management things that people could do beforehand, like
Yeah.
you said, with the, the natural remedies and things. Like, we're not taught about any of that when we get sick. The
No.
doctor just puts you on all these meds, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, take them, they'll make you feel better. And we're told to stay away from Googling, doing research and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then years
But
down
we
the
have
line,
to.
we find out that these meds are actually worse for you, and you could have just
Yeah.
taken like a herbal supplement for it.
Yes.
And it's so frustrating because it's just money. It is mainly them just wanting money.
Yeah. Like when you go to a doctor's office and you like sit in the clinic, everyone walks out with a prescription. Like I said it to James a few months ago when I was in there, I was like, no one walks out empty-handed. Like, why? Like, surely you can't treat everything with an antibiotic. Like, it
Kind
just,
of scary.
I'm like, ugh.
It is kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, they get everybody
So,
conditioned. So, like my whole life, you get sick, you go to the doctor, you get a pill to fix it. Oh, did that,
yeah,
if you're sick, then the antibiotic or whatever takes care of it. But if you have something else wrong, like when I started going in my late 20s to the doctors, like Sophie, I would literally leave with new prescriptions to put on top of the 20, 25,
When
30.
you got home.
I got up to like 60 pills a day, and each thing was causing me to have some other reaction. So they gave me another pill to help that. And it was like, I just threw them all out. I remember coming home
yeah,
once, throwing the scripts in the trash. And
Yeah.
my husband at the time, he was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm not taking them. I'm done." I'm like, "This can't
yeah,
be helping. It can't be helping." So
You
yeah,
have
it's
to be your
crazy.
own advocate, I think. I think when you become sick, especially if you've taken so many medications, you need to become your own advocate and you need to
yeah,
research the medication. You need to do your own, like, I didn't find out that two of my meds interacted with each other, which is basically essentially poisoning yourself.
Yes.
And I
Oh,
thought that would come up
that's
on a red
scary.
flag system in a doctor's. I genuinely thought that if you go to the doctors and they prescribe you something and it interacts, that something will come up on the screen saying you can't take this med.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And it's like I had
Oh,
to find that out myself, and it was causing me so much damage. And then I went to my doctor's. Luckily, I do have a really good GP, and he's like kind of understanding like the herbal side of things as well.
yeah,
So I
that's
sat down
good.
with him and I was like, I don't want to be on like 30 tablets a day. Like, can
Um,
we please just go through these and, cut out as many as we can? I think I managed to
yeah.
get down like 15, which
Okay.
compared to what it was, and
Yeah,
these are the ones
that's,
that I do
yeah,
actually need to stay alive. So like I
yeah,
can't really cut them out, but I cut it down to half. But the fact that
yeah,
I could put it down to half just shows how much unnecessary medication I was putting
yeah,
in my body.
yeah.
And
It's just more money for them.
yeah, and it's
So
More than
frustrating.
poison.
likely, I'm not giving medical advice, but more than likely, the prescriptions that you take could be replaced with herbals that
Yeah,
could actually help you to a point of getting to, maybe you eradicate some of your symptoms, maybe they just get better and more manageable. That's the whole
yeah,
point of herbs is you're not supposed to take herbs forever. You're supposed to take them. Now, as with the chronic illness, we already have damage and stuff. So there's some
mm,
things that we have to implement and stay on. But the herbs are to heal you or
yeah,
get you to a better place so that you're not on them for the rest of your
yeah.
life. You're supposed
It's
to get all
not
your
it, and then you can carry on. Like, it makes you feel a little bit better and improves your symptoms slightly. Whereas if you're on like the prescription ones, you have to stay on them. You can't
yes.
get a break on them.
Yeah,
You have to keep taking them to get the improvements.
And it's like
And
yeah.
you
yeah,
both said, they don't make money off of well people. They make
no, that's
No.
very true. It's very true. They
But
don't.
when they're like mixing pills up and they've not done their research properly, and that's just scary to me because I mean you're probably this both of you the same. Like you've lost so much faith in the medical professionals who are supposed to be professionals in what they do, but yet half the time they don't make us feel better and they don't make us feel seen or heard. So then every time, like I get anxiety just going to the doctors because I'm like, what
Yeah.
they're gonna say now? Like they're just
Well,
gonna look at my history and be like, I'm not dealing with her today. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
back again.
yeah, she can
Yeah.
go away.
It's hard though, is it? Because you do feel like that. Like you're like,
Yeah,
I don't want to book a doctor's appointment because I went like 3 months ago, and it's like,
yeah.
and have you got on your if you ever get like your doctor's notes on the type where it says patient type, it says
Oh,
regular. So it's like
oh
I'm a regular,
no.
yeah.
Oh
Mm.
gosh.
And I felt so
What now we're being
embarrassed.
labeled
I was like, oh great,
troublemakers.
my doctor's labelled me as a regular. Like great. So now I feel even worse, and I'm like, well, now I don't want to go because I don't want to be a regular.
Well, it's like Angie, like you said, like the CDC track you now because you've got Lyme. You'll like want to know if you get well or you die. And I'm
What?
like,
Well, because
it shouldn't be a case of being tracked.
They
no,
actually track you?
yes, the CDC, what happens is I thought this was a good thing. When I tested positive for Lyme, I was what was classified as CDC positive. So that means like you have, I think they've lowered it now, but it used to be you had to have 3 or more bands of the Lyme to be considered CDC positive. Well, I also had co-infections with the Lyme and I had some other stuff. So they were like literally chasing me down. I was having the CDC in my home state calling me. I was registered in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the main place for the CDC. So when I finally talked to them, they were wanting to know like when you had to have just been bitten. I'm like, no, I wasn't. I'm like, I
Yeah.
figured out I was bitten like 16 years ago. And she's like, how did you have such a positive test result from 16 years ago? I don't know. Like, it
You tell
just came
me.
out and like, here it is. So, but I went to a Lyme literate nurse practitioner and I said, but it's a good thing, right? That I got, because she did another test and it came back CDC positive too. So like
Yeah.
they were really contacting me. And I said, well, that's a good thing, right? And she goes, and I said, what do you mean? And she's like, they track you. And I said, they track me. And she said, yes. So she said, they will see, because now you have a number, you're registered,
Yeah.
you have Lyme disease. And they will track you to see if you get better, if you get worse, if you die.
Oh, nice.
So then I was like, oh my God, I have a tracking device on me. I want it off. So
I love how she thought it was a good thing.
Just so me things like that though.
it's
I
crazy.
know.
It's crazy
It
that you find out when you have something like a chronic illness, like, coming full force into your life. All these truths are laid out for you, and you're like, whoa, like you didn't know this stuff went on. I mean, you watch it in movies or something, but for it to go on in real life, like
Yeah.
it's baffling. So yeah,
and it's different. Yeah.
I'm a Lyme spy.
Like, I like that. That should be your new nickname, Lime Spy.
Yeah, that should be your Instagram handle.
Yeah. I'm the
A
Lime
Lyme
Spy.
spy. I don't think anybody has that tag, do they?
I don't think so.
She's gonna look into it tonight.
Yeah.
Lime spy, so I
Lime
don't
Spy.
forget about it. I might have to spell it with an E or something, spy. All right, so Sasha, let's talk about because you're working with a company right now for these wipes. And a lot of us use like baby wipes when we're in bed. This is going to
Yeah.
be some secrets we're going to be dropping that no one knows about. But we're going to tell people it's okay that this happens because it's something that needs to come out. So you want to talk about it?
So essentially, these wipes are adult baby wipes. So they are adult full size wipes that can clean your entire body with just one wipe. So basically, when you're having flare days, or if you're just having one of them really, really, really hard days and you just don't want to get out of bed and you can't manage to make it to the bathroom, you could just wipe
Yeah.
yourself down with one of these wipes and you feel clean and fresh. And
Yeah.
I've been testing them. The for a while now, like in my flares up, because I was just like, that's the best time to test it is in a flare up.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, it's been amazing for me because it's made me feel like it sounds silly, but it made me feel human again while stuck in
Yeah.
a flare. Because that sticky
Yeah.
feeling when you're wiping
Oh, I
yourself with
hate it.
sticky wipes, and it's just like you don't feel clean. I don't want
Yeah.
to rely on my husband because I do feel embarrassed. I know I shouldn't, but I do sometimes feel
Yeah.
embarrassed. And I don't want to always have to, rely on someone else. So this is just a way for me to do it myself without having to ask
No.
for help.
So
And I think
are
it's
they
a really good
messy?
company.
How do they
Sorry?
work? Are they messy? How do they work? But in
How do I can show you. So it is basically just like a baby wipe, but like twice the size, and it's got
okay.
like way more moisture in it, and it's like extra thick.
Okay.
So
Oh wow.
if you can see,
Those are
Oh,
nice.
that's cool.
I'm trying to see it says 20 times 30 centimeters on the packaging,
Okay.
and then
Wow.
I'll see if I can do this one-handed, but basically it's got like more moisture than your
Oh,
standard,
that's so cool.
So you
and I've
wet them
not got very
first?
good strength. You can get loads more out of this.
Do you wet the wipe?
Wow.
No, it's already pre-wet.
Oh,
Because
that much
that's
moisture comes out?
yeah, that's how much moisture comes out of one
That's
wipe.
cool.
And then I've just put the moisture back in, and all you do is just wipe your skin, and it's
Yeah.
rinse free, so it'll just dry,
Oh,
and you don't have
That's
to
cool.
pull yourself down.
Yeah, because it like obviously for us, like suffering from a chronic illness and things, like when you can't have a shower, it feels like you've been like traveling all day, like on a plane and stuff, when you just feel sticky and
Yeah,
all you want to do is go for a shower and just feel like fresh again. So when you don't feel up to that, you want that instant effect, but without having to feel like you're going to pass out in the shower.
that's the thing, because it's just like it gets dangerous after if you're
Yeah,
in like I can't get a shower because I will even with my shower stall, like it's too dangerous for me, so it's just not even worth the risk. But
yeah,
it's also a mental health thing. I don't think people realize just like how
yeah,
bad and how low your mental health can get if you don't feel clean. Like
yeah,
it's just a small thing that makes such a big difference to so many people's lives. It's just feeling clean.
definitely.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
people take it for granted because it's all right. People say what's wrong with the flannel, or what's wrong with going to the sink and having a strip wash. It's like some people can't get to the sink, and
yeah,
some people don't have the capacity to wring out a flannel and then
yeah,
dry themselves with it.
Right.
So they have to understand that yes, to you this may seem like a silly product, but to people like us, this is like a godsend.
It is.
yeah.
It really does help make a difference.
What about people with like chemical sensitivities? Does it have a lot of chemicals in it?
No, it's plastic free. It's biodegradable. It's non-toxic. There's also a unscented version. So for
Oh,
people
that's
that
cool.
struggle with fragrances and stuff like
Yeah.
that, they can use the unscented version. Someone asked me what it smelled like yesterday as well, because apparently unscented things can have a smell. And I was like, it's really hard to describe it. It's like when you first get it out, it smells like a hospital. But then when you
Oh,
put it on your skin, it smells like nothing. It's like
Oh, okay.
completely gone.
oh,
But I think it's
cool.
just because it smells like the actual ingredients, which is
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this wrong. I can't say the word.
Don't
Chlorhexidine.
worry, I'd do the same.
Sorry.
I would be exactly the same. I'd
I'm
be the
not good
same.
with words. You can blame
Me
brain fog.
neither.
Yes. Well, what's the name of the company?
They're called Fresh Wipes UK. So if you just put freshwipes.co.uk, it'll come up.
Okay.
And how much do they cost?
30 something pounds, and it was 51.
Right, okay. And how
That's
many
for the
wipes do you
sale.
get in the starter pack?
So this is what you
Sorry,
get.
I'm asking you too many questions here.
Oh, it's fine. So what you get in a starter pack is you get a rinse-free body cleansing foam,
Oh wow.
shampoo cap,
Yeah.
a mini pack of intimate wipes, a mini pack of antibacterial wipes. You get
Wow.
3 big packs of your adult wipes, which are grapefruit, coconut and your unscented.
Oh, cool.
You get a flannel
Oh,
and
Wow.
bit, which is probably really sad because I'm sad. It you get a little pouch to put things in, so you can store
That's cute.
your wipes so they stay fresh. So yeah,
No, it's
fun.
good for traveling. Like if you're in the car
Sure.
going on like to the hospital or whatever, if you've got an
Sure.
appointment and you
and
just want to freshen up,
yeah,
you
instead of
can.
taking a big bag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so.
So, how
Especially for
much?
the price as well. All that. It's really
and
good.
if you use my code as well, if it still works, like if you use that, you get another 20% off on top of the sale. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's really good.
That was 30 pounds, right? Is that what you said? 30 pounds?
Yeah,
so the starter kit right now is £39.99, but it was £51.93. And
right.
if you use the code on top of that, it takes it down to £31.99. So it saves you
Ah,
another £8 on top of that.
that's really good.
That is really
So
good. You get all of that with
definitely,
it.
yeah, definitely check out the sales and stuff as well, because
Yes.
Yeah.
so yeah, it is really good. And but the coconut ones sell out really quickly. I've found that one out.
I bet.
I think like coconuts like gives you sort of like summer vibe, so it's
Yeah.
probably why everyone likes it. It like lifts the mood instantly.
That little bit like Malibu, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Sasha, let's talk about, since we're going to be coming up on the holidays soon. Right now we're in October, but you want to talk to our viewers about how you deal with holiday stress with your chronic illnesses and things that you do to prepare for it, and we all get flares during
Yeah,
and
yeah.
after the holidays. So, like, would you like to talk
So the
about all that?
Christmas dread, the
Yeah.
Christmas dread.
Yes.
Yeah. So when it goes past about Halloween time, I start having panic and anxiety because I know that Christmas is coming up, and I probably everybody that's chronically ill can relate to this, but you know that when Christmas comes, you have to put on this mask and you have to try hard for everybody else, and then you know that after Christmas, you're going to be stuck in this massive flare up and you're going to be in so much pain, but you can't do anything about it because Christmas doesn't change. It's the same day
Yeah.
every year,
Yeah.
and you all have to get involved, and your family wants you to get involved, and you have to be happy. And I think what I struggle with is the mask that I have to put on and
You're
how long
forcing
it
to be
takes me
happy.
to get into that, and like the
Yeah.
pretense almost, because you can't let on. It's the happiest time of the year. You can't let on
Yeah.
that you're sad. Like it's just
Yeah.
one of them things. So you can't. I feel like if I say that I'm flaring or I'm not up for something or I don't want to do a Christmas market or whatever, I just feel like I'm letting them down because they're so excited for Christmas and I'm just the Grinch
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
No, I get that because having to just force being happy
Yeah.
tires you out even more, like mentally and physically. And also like it's just full on when people you don't even get a break because your family are all on your back. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
not even like you can turn your back and just like have a moment where you just like,
No.
what am I doing? Like you always have to be like, it's like
Yes,
stage presence, like, yes, I'm here. I can cook, I can do this, I can do that. And then you're like,
magical.
yeah. At the end of the day, I'm just like, please go home. It sounds really bad, but I'm like, I'm done.
No, it doesn't. Like we usually have really chilled Christmases, like apart from last year, because I know that I spoke to you two about it previously about me losing my grandmother last
Yeah.
early last year. So last Christmas was really hard.
Yeah.
I think that's my worst Christmas, and I think this is why I'm kind of maybe dreading this Christmas
Yeah.
more because of how bad last Christmas was for me and how much
Yeah.
I have to pretend to everybody else. It was like harder than any other Christmas.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, it was just having to make sure everybody else was okay because of what went on while
Yeah.
ignoring my own needs. And
Taking a
usually,
toll on you.
yeah, usually you can kind of give yourself 5 minutes, like,
Yeah.
and be like, you know what, I need this 5 minutes, take yourself
Yeah.
away. But when you've got people that are relying on you to make their Christmas
Yeah.
happy, you've got no choice but to put on
Yeah.
this big smile and just pretend everything's fine. And then I went into a really bad spiral after Christmas, which not many people knew about, to be honest. just because of how much I had to fake being okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't until I think maybe last month that I got out of it. It was awful because faking that you're okay doesn't work.
No, you think it is working for
It's
like a
not.
couple of days, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting through this, and then all of a sudden it's like a brick wall hits
Yeah.
you, and you feel like you've been run over by a
Yeah.
bus about 4 times, and you're
Yeah.
like the Walking Dead. That's how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just can't do it anymore. You just like, I
No.
can't, I just got no energy to even fake it now. That's it. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So,
had, this is what people don't often understand, is like you had the dread of like the coming holidays and like all that goes into that. Because think about, like, for anyone watching that doesn't have a chronic illness that affects you like it does Sasha or Sophie and I, when you're tired anyway, you're tired just being a normal, healthy person. For someone with a chronic illness, it's like somebody's placed a 1,000,000 pound weight on us and we're trying to carry that weight. Then your grandmother passed away, which we're so sorry to hear, and you had that grief on top of
yeah.
that. So it's like you could hardly, it's like you were in sludge or something,
Yeah.
like you
Because
couldn't
what to
hardly
do?
move.
Stuck. You just feel stuck. And you're literally, it's like trying to walk through quicksand in a way, because it's just like you're trying to get somewhere and you're just getting dragged down each time. But you
Yeah.
just, yeah, it was very hard. I don't think it's talked about enough is probably grief and chronic illness, and how grief can actually affect your
Yeah.
symptoms, and just like how bad your mental health can get, and like how your mental health then impacts your symptoms and things like that. It's just, I think grief's such a, it's one of the topics anyway that people struggle to talk
Yeah.
about. Like no one wants to talk about it because it's just a sad topic. But
Yeah.
especially chronic illness with grief, it's hard because it's just, you've got that extra layer to go through, and you've got to battle more of it. And you're not only dealing with the loss of somebody, you're now dealing with your symptoms flaring times 100,
Yeah.
and it's just a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I don't know if you're the same, but when like we lose someone, it kind of makes us think, oh my gosh, like life is so short, life is so precious. And then you sort of guilt trip yourself sometimes for like being bedbound, being
Yeah.
housebound, because you think I'm
The
not
guilt.
living life to the fullest, yeah. And I'm wasting my life because of this illness. And I've just lost someone and their life has been sadly taken. And that also can play into everything going on as well, like that you're dealing with on top of, the chronic illness and the grief on top of that. And
Guilt
there's
trip.
just
You
so many
guilt.
layers to it.
It's like an onion, isn't it? It's just like you peel one back and there's like 1,000 more. It's just, it's so difficult. People just don't see it.
No.
No.
And we honestly, like, we carry grief with us anyway, because like I'm much older than, not much, I'm slightly older than ladies. But I can tell you, like, you have grief in general because you're grieving the life you lost, you're grieving, what you used to be, because you're no longer that person, you're having to learn to be someone new. I feel like there's a grief cloud that floats around with us, even
Oh
if you're
yeah.
at peace with it. And then when
Yeah.
you have actual grief come up from losing someone that you love, I just feel like it's like a big old sandbag hits you, and
Yeah.
it's hard. So what do you do to help yourself? Like, this was especially hard flare for you this year after Christmas. What did you do to get through that?
Therapy. I went to therapy. I luckily have such an amazing relationship with my granddad, and we speak every single day. So like me and him
Oh,
have kind of been helping each other, and he's a big part of what's been keeping me going. Is my granddad. I
yeah.
love him. He's just amazing. He's the best. He's like one of my
Oh,
best friends. He is. He's just a lovely, lovely man.
yeah.
Um, talking about it, which ironically, I wasn't talking about it when it first started going down, but when I
Yeah.
started opening up more and actually being honest about how it was, that helped a lot. Speaking to my husband, because obviously he could tell, Like
Yeah, of
something,
course.
they can tell that something's not right. And I think he just thought for a while it was just maybe the grief just itself, but then he
Yeah.
realized it was like one thing on top of each other, and it just,
Bit of a cocktail.
yeah, a bit of everything going on.
Yeah.
I went on some anxiety medication, which really helped.
Yeah.
Because that stopped my panic attacks, because I was getting them every day, and it was just,
Oh my gosh.
it was awful. It was awful. So then that's why I got
Yeah.
diagnosed with a panic disorder, because it basically
Right.
it comes
Okay.
out of nowhere. So there's no
Right.
trigger for it. I can just have a
Yeah.
panic attack. And my cat, actually, who's staring at me very
Oh.
funny right now. Yeah, my cat, he helped me a lot as well, but he's just a
Yeah.
superstar. But I think
You
it's a
mentioned
very
your
personal thing what helps you, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I read somewhere
definitely.
the other day that cats have negative ions. So petting a cat is like, it has the same effect on us as going to the beach or being in a forest, because
Oh.
it balances. I didn't know that. I was like, wow. Because I was
They
trying to
say
think if
that
cats could have
purrs
hands.
have a frequency that's supposed to heal.
Yes,
Oh wow.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes. There's
Yeah.
we have like there's stray cats around, but we have one, and this cat purrs 24/7, even when she's sleeping. So like when I felt
Happy
her, I'm like,
kitty.
oh, heal me, kitty.
Yeah. Anything for a free cat hug.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So, eh, I've never really been a big cat person, but like I have come to like love and appreciate them, as
Yeah.
the cool creatures that they are. So,
Oh, they're awesome.
yes.
Yeah.
That's great
Yeah.
that you have a cat, because I really think like Sophie has her two boys and or
Yeah.
her boys, and I think that having a pet is really beneficial for your emotional health.
Yeah, it's his mental health as well. He's like my therapy cat. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
They
it
become your
sounds
best
really
friends.
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
He
some
is
like
everything.
and sometimes like when me and James like go away and we like drop them off at the dog border and then we come home and like it's the day before we fly out. We're like, gosh, the
Where
house is
are
empty. Like, where are our shadows? Where
they?
have they gone?
Because you do, don't you? You miss them when they're not there. Because
Yeah.
they're such a big part of your, like they're tiny, but they're such a huge part of
Yeah.
your heart and your life. And I think when you're
Yeah.
chronically ill as well, and you spend so much time at home, having
Yeah.
something like that, like an animal that loves you just as much as you love them, like just something that you can sit
Yeah.
with, I think that really does benefit your mental health as well.
Yeah. And also I think they give you like purpose. Like, so for
Yeah.
me, it
Yeah.
gets me out of bed and up because I
Yeah.
have to walk the boys first thing in the
You've got to
morning.
feed them as
So
well. And yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, right, I need to be there for them. And I do
Exactly.
treat them like my kids. I do
I'm
literally
the same with Ninja. He's my baby, and I don't care what anyone says. I
yeah,
didn't give birth to him, but he's my child.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I literally like, come on, baby, come over here.
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm the crazy cat lady.
Yeah. Oh yeah, don't
Yeah,
worry. I'm the same.
yeah, everyone else is crazy. We're not.
Yeah.
That term crazy cat lady come from? Because
I don't know.
I wonder, because
I
like,
don't really like the name of it, to be honest. I don't know why we have to be crazy if we like cats.
right?
No.
Yeah.
Neat. So we have several strays, my mom and I, that we take care of. But I agree with Sophie. Like, we've been rehabbing one because she got lost, and then she came back and she was starving, and like we didn't know she was going to make it. She's doing really well now, but she was pregnant. She had two babies. So I've been like,
Oh, bless her.
she's been helping me get
Oh,
my spring schedule, because she's waking me up about 6 or 7 in the morning, let her out, get her breakfast. Then she has, because she's nursing, we make sure she has, enough nutrition. So she gets a mid-morning snack, she gets an afternoon snack, then she has her dinner, snack in the
like
evening.
a routine going.
Like a luxury
Yeah.
cat hotel at your house.
It is a cat hotel. It totally is. Yes. And then my mom
Pretty
has her
bizarre.
dog, Ellie, and Ellie's like, she's on patrol all the time with these cats. Like, she lets us know, oh, the baby's moved, or Luna's outside. Like, it's funny, but it's like we're
That's
on a farm.
cute. Oh, that's funny though. You're on a kiddie farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sasha, what are some words of encouragement that someone's watching today and they're like, they're in bed, they're bedridden, or they're housebound, they can't get out, they don't feel like they're living. Like, what's something that you could offer to them? Like you started your Potsy Panda on Instagram because you
Yeah.
just thought if you helped one person, but look at the thousands of people you help every day. What's something that maybe somebody doesn't want to do Instagram, or maybe they want to, what's something that they could do? What's your wisdom words of encouragement?
See, for me, it might seem really, really cheesy, but on your worst day, remind yourself that that day is not going to last. Like your bad day is not going to last forever. You're going to see a good day again, and you're not the only one out there. And I promise you that you're not the only person out there that has what you're feeling. If you're feeling sad or alone, or you just want somebody to talk to, you're not the only person. There are plenty of people out there that want to talk to you and will offer you support and give you guidance and just give you a friend, really. So
Right.
yeah, don't give up. Don't feel like it's the end of the world, because it's not. Like, you can keep living despite having chronic illnesses. Um, and advocate for yourself. Become your best advocate. Like that, the best bit of advice I can give you is be your best advocate. Do your
Yeah.
research and ignore people that tell you not to Google, but also don't go down the Google rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't see scary
Where you make
things and
yourself
think
so
that you've got
anxious.
that. Yeah. Go through, like, the NHS website, or what the equivalent is in
Yeah.
America, like the legit websites. Don't
Right.
go
Yeah.
down the rabbit holes, because they will scare you and they'll tell you you've got about 3 months left, and that's not
Yeah.
like that's just Google being Google. Ignore that part of Google. So
Good.
yeah.
Great advice. I love that
Yes,
advice.
I
So
agree.
yeah, find some friends, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah.
Find some friends, find people you connect with. And also, if you don't have the support with your family, don't feel like that's the end of the world either, because you'll find new people to become like your family.
Yeah.
Like, and your family may not be supportive now, but down the line they may be,
Right.
Yeah.
because they may understand more, or they may have been to appointments with you and seen or heard your doctor speak, and then maybe
Yeah.
believed you a little bit more. Like, don't
Yeah.
give up hope. You can always get that support from people if they're willing to learn and listen from you.
Because sometimes family aren't supportive at first because it's
Yeah.
like a trauma thing for them,
Yeah.
especially like parents, because they're
Oh
like
yeah.
they guilt trip themselves thinking they've done something
They
wrong.
caused it, or they didn't
Yeah.
they didn't see it or catch it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they want to take the pain away from you. And when a bit like when we were saying about partners trying to fix things,
Yeah.
parents also want to fix you, and they think that's their role as like bringing you into the world was to like help you and take the pain away. And when they can't,
They
sometimes they
can,
have to back off because they don't know what to do,
or it's
and that's their
denial.
way of dealing with it.
Yeah. Or it's like, sometimes it's like I'll get people messaging me saying my mum and dad, like, or whoever, they don't listen, they don't believe that I'm sick. What do I do? And
Yeah,
I'm just like, give it time. Like, because
yeah,
you might feel like they're the worst parents ever because they're not listening to you, but it
yeah,
might be that they're struggling because they're struggling to accept that they're baby, because you're still their baby no
yeah,
matter how old you are.
yeah.
Like, you're
That's
gonna
very
be your
true.
parents' baby. But
Yeah,
their baby's sick, and it is a
yeah,
sickness that they can't cure too. So it's not
yeah,
something you can take
definitely.
a tablet for and get better. And that's really hard for parents to come to terms with, I think. So
Yeah,
give them a little bit of a break at the start, and, like, give them some room and space, and maybe offer them like leaflets on what condition it is,
yeah,
or get them to talk to other parents that maybe have kids with it.
yeah,
Things like that. Just give them some breathing space, and don't write them off just yet. That's
yeah.
what I say. Yeah. Because it's not always the case that they don't want to listen and they don't want to hear you. Sometimes it is just a bit like they need to learn with you.
Bit of trauma. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what
definitely.
I found is if you can spend time with someone, like for me, I had no choice. I had to come down to my parents, and my mom's a
Yeah.
retired nurse. So like it was one of the better options because
Yeah.
she was able to help. But I think like when you come in, it's like you come in guns blazing, you got this
Yeah.
chronic illness, you need help. And so for people to see what it's like for you, hour to hour, day to day, they will understand it better. But when you're on social media, or even like when you just have friends or family that they're distant, or when they see you, I remember people used to, like, say you went to a funeral or something. How you doing? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Fine, thanks.
You were sick. Well, I am, but I'm not going to lead with that,
Yeah.
That's
it's
not
a
my
time and place.
identity.
It's like we're always walking a tightrope, though, of like how much to disclose, or oops, we disclosed too much. Those people look scared now. Like, what do you, you know?
You don't know where the line is, do you? You're just like, oh, I don't want them to feel sorry for me, but I want them
Right.
to understand. So
Yes.
it's like,
That's another balance issue, is like
Yeah.
you want them to understand, but you don't want to scare them away, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't want anyone to have to go through what we went through.
Oh.
We want to try and save people from going through this.
Yeah.
It's hell. It really
It's
is. We make the best of it, but it's still
Yeah.
hell.
we make the best out of a bad situation. So,
Yes.
Still not great cards that we got dealt.
No.
Soon we'll win at some point. You will win when you play poker or something. I don't know how to play poker. I know how to play, but
You got
eventually you'll win.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one time I played a hand of poker metaphorically, and I bluffed, and it was like the best ever, like, because it worked out for me. It worked out. Never
you
done
go.
it before, haven't done it since, but it was one of those once in a lifetime opportunities where I played poker metaphorically and I won.
There you go. All hope is not lost.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Sasha, we have so enjoyed having you on today.
Yeah, we
It's
have.
been such a delight
Thank you.
and a wealth of knowledge and wisdom.
Oh,
So
thank you.
we'd love to have you back on sometime if you're ever up for it. And
Yeah, if you're willing to have me.
Definitely.
yes,
I feel honored to be asked. So thank you for having me on here today.
you're welcome. We're honored that you said yes, because I remember
Yeah,
telling
I know.
Sophie, I'm like, hey, we should ask her to be on. And I know we asked you last fall, and like you were in a flare and stuff like that. So you're like, wait till later. And so then we had to keep pushing the podcast recordings back because
Because
I
of
had been
us.
through the perks. She was like she wasn't feeling well either. She had a flu or something. And I'm like, and I didn't have much of a voice and I couldn't breathe. So like my, I told her, I said, we're gonna have to push things back, push them back.
Health comes
know.
first.
Yes.
Yes.
But we're so glad that we all got together and we got you on.
Oh,
Yes. Thank you
Better
very
let me
much.
know.
It's been a great time.
Is there any other places that you're on social media besides Instagram?
No, I do have a Facebook and a private account, but I don't advertise
Yeah.
that. It's
Okay.
just for my friends and family. So yeah, it is just my my Instagram.
Okay. Well, if you want to check out Sasha's page on Instagram, she's the Potsy Panda. It's POTSIE Panda on Instagram. And she has so many informative and great posts. And be sure to go follow her and like her post and share. And we hope to have you back sometime, Sasha.
Thank you. You go and have a little laugh and cry at the posts. Let me know whether you laugh
Yes.
or cry. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And
Thank
we'll see you
you.
guys next time on Getting on My Nerves. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for our YouTube channel to get us out there and get Sasha out there and get our messages out there.
Oh, thank you.
And hold on to the good memories. We climbed up the mountains and fell in the deep. We were holding on to something, then we lost belief. We're in the middle of a nightmare, hoping soon we'll wake up. And will you still be there when the morning comes?